Dr. Tharp. I'm a board certified internal medicine physician. And as I say every night, I am here on a mission to help people reverse prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. And I have a specific passion about helping women and women who look just like me to reverse prediabetes and type 2 diabetes naturally. Unfortunately, diabetes affects women of color more so than other women. And so that is why I am on a mission to help women turn the numbers back. I am not just a physician who treats this on a day to day basis, who watches the devastating consequences and complications that diabetes can have, but I am also coming from a place where I struggled with insulin resistance. So every step, every barrier that I'm going to talk about tonight, I have been through it. Now, one of the things I want to address is the barriers, right? What's getting in your way? Why can't you turn back your blood sugars? Why are you having a hard time converting your blood sugars, of reversing type 2 diabetes? And one of the things I will say is diet is huge, but there's a couple steps that we have to take before we even start talking about nutrition. So tonight I want to talk about the 5 lifestyle blocks that are getting in your way. It's the main reason you're not getting to the root cause. And so I'm going to break it down tonight as to what you could be facing and what you need to do about it. So let's jump in. Before I jump in, though, I want you guys to know that feel free to jump in with comments, questions, anything. I really appreciate the participation. Let me know where you're coming from, what your specific struggle is. Even if it's not related to what we're talking tonight, I want to know about what your issues are, what the barriers you're facing, and I'm open to questions. So please feel free to jump in at any time. So let's jump in. The 5 lifestyle barriers that are getting in your way. So, the number one barrier that I hear from the women I work with is I am too busy. Now, I get it, right? Life is gonna life, right? The demands don't go away. We have to make a living. There's no doubt about it. But unfortunately, you're busy, and that doesn't mean diabetes goes away because you're busy. If anything, it's allowing diabetes to really take hold, right? It's allowing the disease to get worse. And so I'm too busy. It just does not fly. If you're determined to turn your numbers back, then at this point, the first decision that I would say is you have to find time for yourself. You have to show up for yourself every day, right? So, a lot of us who are working, right, we go to the job whether we feel like it or not. And I always say you have to treat your health the same way. You have to show up for yourself the same way you would for any job, for any important meeting, for any important appointment. You have to show up for yourself. So the first thing is you have to get rid of that mindset block that says, I'm too busy and I can't make time. You have to find that time because unfortunately, diabetes will take hold and it will take hold viciously. You're distracted by life and it will take hold. So I say if you're too busy, then you have to start looking at what time you do have. Okay. What are the times you do have? Are you using your time appropriately? Okay. Are you using the time that you do have to plan your meals, to prep your meals? Are you using the time that you do have to get some steps in, to go for a walk, to get some exercise in? So take a serious, hard look at the time that you do have. It may require getting up a little bit earlier in the morning. It may take taking some breaks at work to fit some time in. But it's really important to get rid of that mindset block. I'm too busy. Okay. And I hear it all too often. And a lot of the women I work with, that is one of the hugest things we have to work around, which is not the number one reason I have structured my program and the way I work with my clients so that we can get over that hurdle. Okay. So I'm too busy does not fly. Just remember that is going to increase the likelihood that the diabetes is going to take hold. Okay. All right. So the second one is I don't have enough time to cook. So it kind of goes hand in hand with I'm too busy. So this is where I talk about utilizing meal prep. Okay. So I want you, if that is one of the bigger barriers that you're facing, you're working around the clock, you're taking care of the kids, you're taking care of maybe your parents, aging parents, you are, feeling like you have so much going on that you put yourself last. Well, now I want you this week to start thinking about meal prep. So, meal prep is all about planning what you're going to eat throughout the week, making it, so dedicating some time, whether it's on a weekend. Some people choose Saturdays or Sundays to do their meal prep, depending on their schedules. But you plan what you're going to eat and you prep it and you prep out, say, for a whole week. You can store it in the fridge. I store my meals in the freezer. Okay. For me, that keeps it a lot fresher. But you can prep your meals, and guess what that does? That takes the time constraints out of actually cooking on the go. Okay. Because you are definitely not going to succeed if you're not planning and prepping your meals ahead. So believe me when I say this, meal prepping is your best friend when it comes to preparing meals at home, especially if you have a busy schedule. Okay, so meal prepping, that is one thing that I would love for you to try. So if you are in that bucket and you're struggling with time to cook, to plan your meals, then I would say give that a shot this week. And I will bet you anything, you will realize it helps. Of course, what you prep is important. Okay, so you have to know what to prep and you have to understand what your body needs. That is an important aspect of prepping, but prepping in itself will take away the time constraints that comes with preparing and planning your meals. Now, the next big thing is eating one meal a day. That is a huge one. A lot of the women who I work with, when they first start, they're eating one meal a day, maybe two. They snack throughout the day. That is a lifestyle block that is keeping your blood sugars high, believe it or not. And a lot of the women I work with are actually very frustrated because they're saying, I'm not eating. How are my blood sugars so high? Well, there's a lot that can go into why the blood sugars are still high. And that is where, usually I'll have to sit down with you one on one to really understand what your day looks like and what your meals look like. But if you're eating one meal a day, about one meal a day, maybe snacking, then, and your blood sugars are high, then it's really about what you're eating, how much you're eating. You're choosing the wrong things to eat. Now, just eating one meal a day is bad. And I can tell you right now, without knowing what you're eating, you are not giving your body what it needs to heal. You're not giving your body what it needs to control your blood sugars. So you have to be eating. And if you've watched my prior videos, if you've seen my prior lives, you will see that that is a big issue that I come across, is that if you're not eating, you need to start eating. You need to eat 3 well-balanced meals a day. If you want to know what to eat, then I do lives where I talk about what you should be eating, what your plate should look like. I don't think I have enough time now to break it down fully what you should be eating. But one thing I stress is protein, making sure you have a lot of protein on your plate, a lot of fiber in your diet. If you have those things, that is a good start. Okay. So you must eat. And then it's all about what you're eating, if you're eating in the right balance. So because a lot of the women I work with, they aren't eating, I have incorporated a built-in meal plan. Okay. The meal plan is meant to meet the women I work with throughout the program and in the midst of their busy lives, right? So it kind of takes the planning side out of it if you have recipe ideas, if you know exactly what to prepare. And I found that works great to help guide what choices the people I work with are making. And there is opportunity for you to actually access the sample meal plan and to try it, frankly, and to see that it really does help control blood sugars. And you can build your meals around the sample meal plan. You can access that by clicking the link in my profile. Once you click the link in my profile, then you will see the Reverse Her Jumpstart. And that is where you can get a grocery list, you can get a sample meal plan, and you can give it a shot. And you will see that it will help you plan and balance your meals throughout the day. Okay. So eating one meal a day doesn't fly, but having a structure and strategy and a meal plan does help with that as well. All right. So it is important to know what you're eating. Now, the next thing is, well, another huge block that I come across is I'll just settle for the meds. Okay. I'll just settle for medications. And really, that is coming from a place of giving up. Okay. Because most of the women who I talk to who are saying, well, I'll just deal with the meds, I'll just take medications, I'll be okay. They're coming from a place of frustration. They've tried a lot and it didn't work, and so at this point they're giving up. So the first thing is, don't give up. Okay. It's all about having the right strategy. The problem with just settling for medications, and again, if you're on medications, you never want to stop taking the medications, right? But in order to free yourself of medications, or in order to prevent being on more and more medications, it's important to get to the root cause. Medications are there as a band-aid, right? The medication is there to get the blood sugar down, but it's not necessarily getting to the root cause. And the root cause is nutrition. Okay, it's nutrition. And a lot of the time, it comes from that insulin resistance, that comes from excess body fat and not moving your body enough. So, getting to the root cause is how you're going to ditch medications, is how you're going to prevent being on more and more medications, is how you're going to prevent yourself from becoming dependent on medications. So, don't give up and don't settle for medications, because, to be very honest, things don't get better when you just settle for medications. Things tend to get worse, whether gets worse in months, whether it gets worse over years. But if you're not getting to the root cause, things do get worse. So it's important to just have a strategy, right? It comes back to strategy, what you should be eating, and again, getting around the mindset blocks. And the mindset blocks is, I'm too busy, I don't really eat, I don't have time to cook. Those are the three mindset blocks that we've talked about so far. It's all about assessing what time you do have and utilizing that time wisely with strategy in order to combat insulin resistance and to get to the root cause. Now, lastly, and this is a huge one, okay, and this is where I'm going to dive in give you some tips on maybe what you can do to combat this, because I will say this one, 90% of the people I work with, of the women I work with, have this issue, and that issue is, I don't know what to eat. Okay, that is the biggest one. Now, I talk a lot about nutrition because nutrition is a huge part of reversing insulin resistance. It's 80% of reversing insulin resistance is nutrition. And there's a lot on the internet, right? A lot of information out there. The information is vast and it's confusing and it can be conflicting at times. And so that is where the frustration comes in. So the first thing I want to mention to you is that what's healthy for the average person who's living without insulin resistance or without type 2 diabetes is not necessarily healthy for someone who's struggling with insulin resistance. That's the first thing. So if you're looking in a place that offers a meal plan, okay, yes, it might be healthy, but it's not built for you with insulin resistance. And that's why I make it a point to structure a meal plan that works to control blood sugars, okay? Because again, what's healthy for the average person is not going to be healthy for you if you're struggling with pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes. So that's the first thing. So it's really important to understand that where whatever source you're going to, it needs to be a source that is structured for you with blood sugar issues. Now, it's all about what you're putting on your plate, okay? What are you putting on your plate? So, the first thing I'll stress is protein, okay? Are you getting enough protein? If you are skipping breakfast and your first meal is 10, 11, and then you're not eating for the rest of the day, I can tell you you're not getting enough protein. Okay. Eating enough protein typically takes spreading your meals across well balanced meals throughout the day, not one. So if you are someone who's eating one meal a day, you're not getting enough protein. Hands down, I can tell you that without knowing what you're eating. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is how carb heavy are your meals? The majority of Americans are eating a huge amount of carbs. We're a very carb focused society here. So we have to examine your plate this week, and if you have a lot of rice, a half of your plate is rice, you're eating a lot of bread throughout the day, you're having lots of bread with breakfast, you are eating simple carbs throughout the day, so you're snacking on carbohydrates like crackers or chips throughout the day, then that is where you're going wrong. At least a quarter of your plate should be protein. At least another half of your plate should be vegetables, and another quarter of your plate should be a complex carbohydrate. When I say complex carbohydrate, we're not talking about simple carbohydrates like white bread or white rice. We're talking about sweet potato, which is high in fiber, which is high in fiber, minerals, vitamins. So it's giving you everything you need. We're talking about high fiber. Quinoa is another complex carbohydrate. Beans and chickpeas are another form of complex carbohydrates. You want your carbohydrates to be giving you fiber. It might have some protein in it as well, and so you're not going to find protein or fiber in white rice or white bread. So if you are having those things with your meals throughout the day, that is one easy change that you can make. The other part of your plate should be healthy fat. So don't fear fat. That is my number one rule. Fat is your friend. Healthy fats are your friend here. When I say healthy fats, avocados, that is an excellent source of fat. Avocados, you have olive oil, you have olives, the olive, you have fatty fish such as salmon. So those are where you're going to get your healthy fats. Your diet should only have healthy fats in there. So if you are cooking with canola oil or vegetable oil, then those are unhealthy fats that you should completely cut out starting today. Okay. Incorporate healthy fats. Now, how much you're having does matter, but again, don't fear it. How much you should be having is really dependent on your body and what it needs, but healthy fats are important. So do an audit of your kitchen cabinets. And if you have vegetable oil or any seed oils, then replace it with your olive oil, with avocado oil. You can incorporate avocados into your diet. So healthy fats only. And don't forget fiber. Now, just the plate I described, half of your plate vegetables, a complex carbohydrate, there should be a lot of fiber in that. The daily amount of fiber that everyone should be meeting is a minimum of 25 grams of fiber. Fiber is your best friend when you're fighting insulin resistance as well. So it's really important to make sure you're getting enough fiber. Now, one of the things that I realize again is a huge problem. People don't know what they should be eating. The clients I work with, when they start out, they don't know exactly what they should be eating and in what balance they should be eating it, how much they should be eating. So that's why I take that additional step of structuring a meal plan So everyone within my program has access to a nutritional guide that breaks everything down for them. And there's also a built-in 4-week meal plan. So that is what we work with, again, to take the frustration out of what should I be eating, or to take that frustration out of meal planning. Okay. So it's really important to get over all of these lifestyle issues. Okay. I'm too busy. I don't have time to cook. I only eat one meal a day. I'll just settle for medications, and I just don't know what to eat. Those are the 5 biggest blocks that are preventing you from achieving blood sugar control. Now, I just want to share with you the results, right? What type of results do I get with the women that I work with? And I want to share one particular client, and I'll go ahead and share my screen. Her results have been phenomenal, and I just want to show you, just from eating in the right with the right strategy and the right meal with the right meal plan, she has successfully um, gotten her blood sugars under control. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And so this is the app that we use. This app is what helps me see how the blood sugars are doing. It helps me to see how each person is responding to the meal plan. And so a lot of my clients are really good. They're actually very thrilled with tracking their numbers because they see in real time what's happening with the blood sugars. And so, as you can see, just from changing the diet, just from eating a balanced meal that is right for her body, look at what happened to her blood sugars. Her blood sugars she starts out 135. She was averaging about 150 when she first started. Her blood sugars started 135. And as you can see, as her diet changed, so did the blood sugars. And so her blood sugars have trended down nicely, 135 for 2 days. Then, boom, it dropped 120. And then look there again, it drops again to 112. And then finally, here we are, a normal blood sugar. And so, for those of you on Instagram who might not be able to see, let me see if I can show you the screen. Let's see if I can turn my screen around here. So I'm going to show you that screen. This is what I'm talking about. So as you can see, the blood sugars here started 135, 133, and now she's at 82. So that is understanding what the right balance of what the right nutrition does. Okay, it gets your blood sugars controlled, and it does work. But again, getting to this point takes getting through the mindset blocks. Okay, the mindset blocks is where we really is what we really have to do to really achieve um, blood sugar control. Okay. So that is just one result. That can be you if you just take that time, if you just put in the effort, and if you invest that effort into structuring the time, making the time, and planning meals appropriately, and understanding what meals to eat in the right balance, then you can achieve it. And this can be a permanent change. Okay. This is something that's not just a band aid, it's not a diet. This is a lifestyle. It's all about changing your life so that diabetes does not take hold. You don't face the complications of diabetes. You overcome it and you move forward to live with quality of life, and you live with less anxiety because those blood sugar issues go away. So with that, that is my live for tonight. I hope just so you know, you can get access this meal plan. Go to my profile on Facebook, my profile on Instagram. Just click the link. The link will take you to the free meal plan, and there you can access a grocery list. Please do the quizzes. Go through your score because everybody again is different. It's not a one size fits all. So it's really important to do the quiz first to understand what your score means. And then from there, you can go on to access your meal plan and you can go on to access the grocery list. And hopefully that will give you a good start to better blood sugar control. So with that, I am going to close off, but I'm going to leave opportunity for questions or comments. So if anybody has any questions or comments, please feel free. Even if it's unrelated to what we have talked about tonight, go ahead and please uh, drop the comment in the chat. If not, if you want to talk one on one, if you want to figure out how we can work together, then you can go ahead and book a free discovery call, and we can talk about your specific challenges, your specific journey, and how we can work together to get your numbers better and to actually reverse prediabetes or type 2 diabetes naturally. All right, guys. So with that, I'm going to close off and I will see you next time.